Today, my dear brothers and sisters present and those watching us online, we are celebrating the feast day of St. John Vianney. St. John Vianney was a priest, and from what is known about him, he was not a very good person in academics, but he did his simple theology. And that simple theology is the one that did mighty wonders in his life as a person, and also to those that he was ministering to. We are told that in breaking the word of God, he broke the word of God in a very simple way, according to how he understood. And in his simplicity, many souls turned to Christ. Many people received their salvation. We are also told that in the parish, he dedicated hours and hours of confession. He offered confession to so many people, and whenever he offered the sacrament of penance, people received Christ. People received consolation in a special way. People turned from their sinful way just by spending that little time with St. John Vianney. St. John Vianney, in 2009 by Pope Benedict XVI, he was named as the patron saint of the parish priests, but also priests who are working in the parish. So that tells you that today is also my day, right? Because I am working at the parish. And in this Mass also, in commemoration of this feast day of St. John Vianney, we remember all the priests and we put them before God, and especially the parish priests who are tasked to take care, to be the custodians of souls that are placed in their hands. The same way we are hearing about God instructing Moses, liturgical year on which the Israelites are to follow. We listened well, and we had the day of Passover. We had the Passover, the Day of Atonement. We heard about the Sabbath. We heard about the Yom Kippur, right? And these are the liturgical calendars, the mark of events of which the Israelites are to mark, because they are marks of journey through which God has saved them, through which God has helped them to come from the Egypt, the land of slavery, to the land of promise. And my dear brothers and sisters, God has taken us through a long journey to reach where we have reached. You and I, if I was to tell you my journey, you would say that for sure, this was Exodus, This was a journey whereby God walked with me, and I'm sure he has walked with you while holding your hands, But sometimes we fail to honor these events in our lives. We value our birthdays so much. If you are told you will not celebrate your birthday this month, how would you feel? I'm sure if you're married, you would be very angry with your husband. If you have a boyfriend, you would be very angry with your boyfriend, right? Or maybe not us. Let's go back to our children. I'm sure they are so demanding when it comes to the birthdays. And we mark them. But do you mark the day of their baptism? Do you mark the day of their confirmation? Do you mark the day of their first Holy Communion? Do you? These are times that God has used to deliver us from our sinful nature. But rarely do we follow those days. God is telling the people of Israel not to forget where he has brought them from. Not to forget the journey that they have had together with him. In the book of Genesis and the book of Exodus, we have had all the journey, right? We've been doing those. We started with Genesis. Yesterday we finished Exodus. And today we have started on Leviticus. And to this we shall hear how they are to celebrate where God has brought them from. And us also, we are being called to celebrate where God has brought us from. We may not celebrate better when we become familiar with these events. When we become familiar with God, we may not celebrate these events properly. And that is what happens to the people, the people of the home country of Jesus. Because they were familiar with him. They knew him in and out. They knew the mother, the father, and the brothers and the sisters. They knew how he came from a humble background of a carpenter's son. No? So they felt there is almost nothing good that can come from Nazareth. And then Jesus comes up and he's doing mighty deeds. He is preaching wisdom. He is preaching the word. And he calls himself even the Son of my God, They could not take that. They refused to take the new in Jesus. And they wanted to remain with the old. Familiarity breeds contempt. You've heard of that, right? And Jesus today brings that theme so clearly. Because we are actually told that he did not do mighty or great works in his own hometown. But the people from his own hometown, they had heard him doing many other things outside his own hometown. But because of lack of faith, because of lack of belief in him, because of familiarity, Jesus could not do much in his own home country. My dear brothers and sisters, we are working in family ministry. We might have become very familiar with what we do. And when we become familiar with that which we do, and we just do it as work and not as ministry, we will fail to receive the blessings that comes with our work. Our work must be a ministry, and that is why you're called Holy Cross Family Ministries. Otherwise, we would have called them Holy Cross Family Workers. People who just work, and at the end of the day to receive their stipend or their salary or something like that. But you are ministers. Ministers to help families pray together. Ministers that are called to heal our families. Through the rosary, Mother Mary was a woman of the family. Joseph was a man of the family. Jesus belonged to the family, and so they know the importance of our families. And that is why you're given this important task to help our families become, to help our families pray, to help bring love and unity in our families. Let us not become familiar with what we do. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.